Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic Monday. In this episode of the Music Den, I'm going to be doing an album review. This album came out July 7th of this year. My physical copy has not arrived yet because it's coming in from Australia. This album is self-released from Canadian artist. The artist is Jeff Martin. The album is The Seven Deadly Sins. Jeff Martin, as most of you may or may not know, is the lead singer, lead guitarist, multi-instrumentalist for the Canadian rock band, The Tea Party. Now, The Tea Party, for me, have got to be, without question, the hardest and best rock band that have come out of Canada in quite a long time. The Tea Party started out in 1989. They released their independent self-titled album in 1991. They signed a recording deal with EMI Canada in Canada and signed with Chrysalis in the US and UK in Europe. They released their major label debut, Splendor Solace in 1993. They have had a string of albums, forgive me for that, through the 90s and into the 2000s. In 2005, the band split up, much to the surprise of myself and other fans, due to creative differences. They reformed in 2011. Now, during the time that they were apart, Jeff Martin has released a number of albums. His solo debut was called The Exile in the Kingdom in 2006. He formed a group called the Armada. They released a debut album in 2008. And he formed another group in 2011 called Jeff Martin's 777. They released their debut and only album, The Ground Cries Out, and he recorded that with Jay Cortez. And that album was more of a blues-oriented album. It still had the sort of Middle Eastern influences to an extent, but it was basically more of a hard rock blues album. And it's got to be said, Jay Cortez has gone on record as saying that he really wasn't a fan of the Tea Party music for some reason. The Tea Party reunited, as I believe I said, in 2011 for a reunion tour. The reunion turned out to be permanent. They've released their next studio album in 2014 under the Anthem record label and SRO management. The album was called The Ocean at the End, and they released their most recent album, Blood Moon Rising, in 2021 under Inside Out Music in Russia and in Europe. The music that's on the Blood Moon Rising album was released on 2 EPs in North America separately. I have the European Blood Moon Rising album under Inside Out Music. The album, Seven Deadly Sins, follows Jeff Martin's previous release, which was a 6-track EP called Cinnamon Rose. Okay. Seven Deadly Sins was recorded at a time when the Tea Party were on a bit of a break, when Jeff Martin's manager, Tim Pellegrino, asked him if he was interested in recording another solo album. He was. And Pellegrino suggested that, instead of following what was done on Cinnamon Rose, which was, it had the Middle Eastern influences, but it was more of a softer acoustic kind of a situation, he suggested that Jeff Martin get in touch with his more, I guess you could say, darker side. And Jeff Martin has admitted to being interested in stuff of things regarding the occult. So he decided to come up with this thematic premise of writing a group of songs based on the 7 deadly sins. And, as we all know, the 7 deadly sins are, for those of you who don't know, I had to remind myself of this, are lust, gluttony, wrath, greed, envy, pride, and sloth. Now, Jeff Martin provides all of the instrumentation on this album, with the exception of the drums. The drums were provided by Darren Evans. Beautifully done. Okay. This album is akin to what the Tea Party has done in the past in terms of the Middle Eastern influences. But instead of instead of the rock element coming into it, this album is strictly, from what I can hear, and I've heard it at least 3 or 4 times, it's strictly Middle Eastern music. I mean, Jeff Martin has dove headfirst into this area of music, and he's done so beautifully. The album was produced by Jeff Martin. He has done all the production on all the Tea Party albums. And he has done production work for other artists such as Roy Harper, most notably. The album, each song for me is a journey, right? And it's a journey of intricacy, of lush textures, of just boundless creativity, honestly. Like I said, the drums are prevalent, but they're not as prevalent as, say, on the Tea Party albums. Here you have more ornate instrumentation, more acoustic instrumentation, a lot of use of acoustic guitar, a lot of double tracking of acoustic guitar, a lot of use of harmonium, hurdy-gurdy, those types of instruments, and they're used to perfection, all right? And the fact that Jeff Martin was able to do all of this, with the exception of the drums, is just bloody brilliant, all right? I do feel that Jeff Martin sometimes gets a bad slagging in the public eye in terms of what he can provide and what he can bring to the table as an artist. I think he's very underappreciated and underutilized. I mean, in terms of people knowing about him, he's not very well known in the US, and that's the US loss. I mean, the Tea Party are known in places like Detroit, Buffalo, places like that. But in areas like places like Los Angeles, New York, they're not really well known at all. The Tea Party have never really been able to crack the US market, and that is quite unfortunate. But getting back to the album, each track has a different title, has a different deadly sin. Starts off with Lust, with a song called Savet Nora. And again, all these tracks are very ornate, very orchestral, very textured, very layered. It's almost like Jeff Martin took a canvas, an empty canvas, and basically each song is a painting and a journey into I guess you could say, Jeff Martin's mind as to what he was going through at the time. Each song for me is a little novella, tells a story about a person's experience in their life. And they're, they're brilliantly done. They're exquisitely done. Next song under the title of Gluttony is called Down on Your Knees. It's again, he follows along with the themes of the Middle Eastern. I mean, he dives right into the Middle Eastern influences on these tracks. The next track is the only track that is not written by Jeff Martin. It's under the title of Wrath. It's called So Bitter, and it's written by Paul Drennan and Brendan Walton. Otherwise, Jeff Martin has written the 6 other songs on the album. Other songs of note on the album under Greed is Sorted and Sold. Fantastic. Just beautiful guitar work on this. Really very ornate, very intricate. Envy comes next. And this is the one title that really stands out to me on the album. Under the title of Envy, there's a track called Center of My Love. And no, it's not the Journey version or song. It's basically talking about someone who was in a relationship, possibly a marriage. They got out of the marriage. He realizes that they mistreated his wife or girlfriend, and he neglected her. She's moved on. She's in a happy place in a new relationship. And he's envious of the fact that this other person's with her and he's not. But he would not do anything to wreck her happiness or influence her to go back to him, because he knows that he can't give her what she so richly and rightfully deserves. So to me, that song is a real standout to me. The other songs under the titles of Pride. Next one is called Blinded By. And this one also too talks about, being so preoccupied by achieving a goal in life, whether it be work. It usually is work, but okay, we'll deal with work. Trying to achieve a certain position, a certain goal in life, only to realize that everything else in your life has passed you by, because you're so blinded by what you're trying to do and what you're trying to set up for yourself, that the rest of your life just basically slips away from you and it's gone. And you don't realize that until it's too late, which I think a lot of people should worry about, but, that's not always the case. The last track, which falls under Sloth, the title of Sloth, is a track called You Move So Slow. And again, fantastic acoustic arrangement with the guitars. A lot of in terms of the instrumentation, it's a very, the way I can describe it is mind altering, because you're basically taken on a journey, right? This is another one of those albums where you put it on, all right? You have the lights either completely off or low in the room, and you just sit back on the couch and you just let the music wash over you. And you really literally do that. You can listen to the track separately, obviously, which if you check them out on YouTube, you will, because they're all separated. But this album needs to be listened to in its entirety, as a whole cohesive piece. And these tracks take you on a journey. And you know what? It's a journey of of want, of need, of self-exploration, of self-degradation, I guess. Like looking at yourself, in the mirror, it may not like what you see. Self-analyzation, all of that. And you come out the other end of it, at the end of the album, you're either better for it or not. But at least at the end of the album, you have a better understanding of yourself and where you've been and how far you've come and how far you have yet to go. So for me, this album, 10 out of 10 if I had to give it a ranking. I am not kidding you. There are only 7 songs. The songs all range around the 4-minute mark. The longest track is Down on Your Knees, which clocks in at 5 minutes and 17 seconds. If I were you, I would not skip a track. Listen to every track, get into it, lose yourself in it, because you know what? You'll be better for it. You can get this album either, you can listen to it on YouTube, you can stream it, and you can get it from Jeff Martin's website at jeffmartin.com. He has limited the physical releases to 1,000 copies. So please get yours as quickly as you can. Mine, I just heard the mailman come put something in the box, so my copy could very well be outside still. On the website, on jeffmartin.com, the CD runs for about $29 Australian, which when I got it in Canadian funds, it was $47.41. And the vinyl copy runs for about $79 Australian. So it is quite pricey. But you know what? Whatever version you want to get, you'll be better for it. I promise you that. So please check this out. And when you do, check it out on YouTube. When you do, please, down below, let me know what you think. Do you like the Tea Party? Do you like Jeff Martin? Do you think that they're overrated? Do you think that they didn't get a fair shot in the US? Do you think that, that they're original? Do you think that they're copycats of Zeppelin or the Doors? Because that's what they were being accused of. Please let me know your opinion. And again, click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourself on top of any new content that I've got coming up. I'm going to be doing another video today. I'm going to try and do my top 5 album ranking of Saga. And possibly a third video today. So that's it for now. Please, again, check this album out and again, let me know what you think. And look after yourselves and one another. And I will see you very soon. Bye for now.